Okay, and we are now live. Hello, welcome guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to the pre-market overview for today, Tuesday, I believe, July the 14th. It's hard to keep track of the days at the moment, isn't it? I believe it's Tuesday. So welcome to the pre-market overview. My name's Becky, just in case you didn't know. You can email me if you need to, if you have questions on anything I cover today at becky@tradewithufos.com. Or, and actually probably better off, to email the support team with any questions. They're much quicker at responding as they're a team as opposed to one person. So support@tradewithufos.com. You can get through to those guys with any questions you have from anything I might cover today. Just going to explain what we go through for those that have never been with us on the pre-market overview before. Just going to explain what it is that we do. So we look through our newsletter. So if you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, you can email us, newsletter@tradewithufos.com, and we will put you on that subscription list. So the document I go through today, you'll get a copy of that obviously every day as it's updated. We'll send it out to you. So in the newsletter, we go through 4 of the major markets in the world. We talk about the direction that they're going in, how long they're likely to go in that direction, when they might change, volatility and news that could impact the markets. And in the pre-market overview, we spend about 15-20 minutes going through that newsletter and just explaining it in more depth. So that's what I'll do today. So just a reminder for those of you that are joining us from within the Tradictive channel, on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, we have futures and options. Obviously today being a Tuesday, we have stocks in the morning at 9 a.m. and investing in the afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then over the weekend, we have the sharpening sessions, which are sort of reinforcing methodology and psychology sessions as well, which are extremely important. Upcoming classes that we have, and these are sort of foundations up, going through these concepts obviously in much more depth. The ones over here kind of assume that you already know how to do those things. So we obviously offer from the foundations up as well for those that need that level of education. The next class we have upcoming is the backtesting class. That's this weekend, July 18th to the 19th. I'll actually be taking that class. And what we go through in that is how to take a strategy, and rather than wait in real time to see whether or not it's going to work, and maybe it takes a few months for you to really know, to apply it to the past in a much more efficient way to see if it's something that would have worked before, so you can be more confident on it into the future. So that's the next class that we have. After that, we've got futures, stocks, psychology, and trading plans. So have a look at those dates whilst I read the disclaimers, and then we will crack on and go through the newsletter. Okay. So the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive when using our products. The following presentation is for educational purposes only. All the symbols and trading ideas discussed are for demonstrating and are not recommendations. Active options and futures trading carries a high degree of risk and may not be suitable for all traders. Past historical trading performance of real or simulated trading does not guarantee success and may not be indicative of future results. You Can Trade is an online media publication service which provides educational investment content and ideas along with live trading demonstrations and does not provide investment or trading advice, research or recommendations of any kind. Please visit www.youcantrade.com for additional disclosure information. Brilliant. Now that we've done that, let's go and take a look at our newsletter. So like I said, for those of you that are subscribed, you will get this every day. Again, if you're not already subscribed, then it's newsletter@tradewithufos.com. Just email us and you'll get this. This is what it looks like. So like I said before, we go through 4 of the major markets in the world. What we're looking at is the S&P, so one of the major equity indexes in the world. Oil and gold, both commodities, obviously different forms, one in the form of metal, one in the form of energies. We've got the euro, obviously a currency. And with the euro, we're looking at the euro versus the US dollar, which is the highest traded currency pair in the world. And Forex is the highest traded asset class in the world. So covers quite a lot. The US dollar itself, just by itself, is responsible for 80% of transactions worldwide every single day in the markets. So between these multiple markets, we've covered quite a lot of what goes on. Even if you don't trade these directly, I'm sure you'll trade things that will be correlated to it. You'll also notice that we're going to go through a daily time frame for each of these markets. Again, different things happen on different time frames, but hopefully the daily falls into something that you do, whether you're a long-term trader or a short-term trader or a long-term investor, sorry, should I say. So what we're going to go through for each of them is climate. What I mean by climate is in what direction is the market going? Essentially trend, or what environment are we in? We're in an upwards movement or we're in a downwards movement. Propagating. How far can we expect that movement to continue? If we're going upwards, how long can we expect to go upwards before we will change direction? We all know that trend doesn't last forever, and we want to know the stats that will tell us how long we're likely to keep going in that direction. For these two, we use the Auto Climate app that we use on our charts there. It's a technology app that highlights these for us and lets us know what these stats are. We then use Auto UFOs, which is basically UFO stands for unfilled orders. Sorry, I forgot that. Unfilled orders. So we're looking for buy orders, unfilled buy orders that could push price up, and they show in the form of a green UFO. Or we're looking for unfilled sell orders that could push price down. They show in the form of a red UFO. So that's basically giving us an idea of where price could turn and maybe where these climates could stop. So we're using the Auto UFO app for that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down, and for each market, we'll look at volatility, which is basically how fast we expect these markets to move. So we'll start with the S&P. That's the first market here. We are using the symbol SPX.X. That's the symbol we're using for the S&P. Sorry, wrong one there. Here we are. Okay. So this is a chart of the S&P. Maybe let's spread it out a little bit. Okay. So we have our Auto Climate app on the bottom here. Now, the Auto Climate app is showing us a thick blue dot. So what that means is we are in a confirmed upwards climate. If it was red, it would say we're in a downwards climate. Because it's blue, it means we're in an upwards climate. If it was a thin dot, then it would mean it's unconfirmed, meaning we have less probabilities. But because it's a thick dot, it means that it is confirmed, meaning we have more probabilities. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go through it. Closest UFOs in terms of orders that could turn price. We have this UFO here, buy UFO, 2955.45 to 2933.59. That's the closest stack of buy orders that we expect could turn price upwards if price were to get there. Now, yesterday we had one round about here somewhere, and we also had, I think over here, a sell UFO, and they've both been taken out now. So we've kind of opened up the playing field here as to what could happen in these markets. Now we have our closest sell UFO, which is just at the top there. That's 3373.23 to 3393.52. Again, that's the closest stack of sell orders that we think could turn price back down if price were to get there. So once again, wrong one. Here we are. So in terms of propagating, we know we had a confirmed upwards climate, but how long can we expect that to continue? Now, this is the figures that we see here. Now, just to make a point, all of these numbers on the right-hand side, I'm going to round them up to the next round number. So whatever the decimal place is, I'm going to round them all up. Okay. So what that means is for the S&P, we would normally expect that it would go up on a daily chart for 11 candles. So 11 days. And we're on candle number 8. So what that means is we're potentially coming to the end of what is usual for this market to go in an upwards direction. Again, of course, sometimes we surpass the stats. Of course, sometimes we don't quite reach them. It's all to do with probabilities and statistics, what is usual, what is average in these markets, to give us an idea of statistically where we have our edge. So we do have a confirmed upwards climate, and we do still have statistically a few more days to go before this market is likely to change direction. And as we saw, we've got no real close buy or sell UFOs that could turn price close to price right now. Not to say that new UFOs can't come into the markets, but for now, we don't see them there anywhere close to current price. Okay, so it just comes down to volatility and understand how fast we might expect the S&P to move. So when we say volatility, that's what we mean is how fast markets move, or rather how far they move within particular periods of time. Everything is done on this column here in an annualized basis, and we are using the chart symbols over here to get the information, to get these percentages. Now, these percentages, or the current implied volatility chart symbols that we use, are directly linked to the options of the market, of these markets. So basically what that means is when professional traders are buying and selling options, they're setting the price of the option. What they're willing to set the price for, what they're willing to buy and sell it for, reflects the risk they're willing to take, which is obviously based on how fast they think the markets could move. So the implied volatility numbers come from the options pricing, and the options pricing reflects what professional traders think in terms of the movement that's likely to happen. So these numbers here in this column show us what is likely to happen based on what professional traders believe about the movement of the market. So for the S&P, we look at VIX.X. That's the chart that we use to do that. So we can see that in 1 year, in current implied volatility numbers are showing us that we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 31.15% on the S&P, which means if we reverse engineer that, we could expect a movement in 1 day up or down of 61.91 points. In 1 week, we would expect a movement up or down of 136.30 points. And in 1 month, we would expect a movement up or down of 283.72 points. Again, just gives us an idea of how far these markets are likely to move. Okay, we're going to move on to oil. So for oil, we're using @CL. That is the continuous futures contract for oil. So let's go back to here and have a look at CL. Okay, once again, I'm going to move this chart a little bit here so we can see what we need to see. There we go. Looks like we're quite far from UFO, so I've had to scrunch the chart there a little bit, but hopefully we can still see it okay. So auto climate again at the bottom here, we can see, or you might not be able to see very well, and I guess that's the point, we have a thin red dot. So remember I said before, if it's a thin dot, it means that the climate is unconfirmed. So we have less odds in our favor, less statistics on our side here. Now it's a red dot, which would say that we're in a downwards climate, but like I said, it's unconfirmed, so less probabilities. Closest buy UFO is just here. You can see it's quite scrunched. It's next to another one. We've got two on top of each other, there and there. The top number is 25.87 to 25.36. Closest sell orders or sell UFO, just at the top there, 53.39 to 55.27. As you can see, we are kind of just in the middle there, not really doing anything. We haven't really moved in the last week or so on oil. And again, not really surprising considering we've not been close to any orders that could push price either up or down. So it'd probably take new orders coming into this market to make it move significantly. Okay, so understanding propagating. So we said before we had an unconfirmed down climate. We can see that here. We've got a red arrow pointing down and it's got a little cross next to it. So the little cross is just us telling you that it's unconfirmed. If there's not a cross, then it is confirmed. Now, in terms of how far we could expect that downward movement to continue, again, bearing in mind it's unconfirmed, let's understand how long oil would normally go down for. So oil normally goes down for 9 candles on a daily chart. So 9 days, and we're on day number 1. So in theory, we have the statistics on our side that this trend could continue for another 8 or so days. That's what statistics tell us. Again, we have an unconfirmed climate, so we have probabilities on one side, but not on the other. So again, be interesting to see what happens there, especially since, like we said, we've got no close buy or sell UFOs that could push this market either way. Okay, so understanding volatility, how fast could we expect oil to move? We're using OVX.X, that's where we get the implied volatility numbers for oil. And we can see here that we would expect a movement up or down in oil of 53.41% in a year, which means in a day, we'd expect to move up or down of 1.33 points. In a week, a movement up or down of 2.94 points. And in a month, a movement up or down of 6.11 points. Okay, so moving on to gold, we're looking at GC. So once again, the continuous futures contract for gold. I'm just going to look on a different tab here because gold's quite far back there. Okay, there we go. Hopefully we can see that okay. So once again, we have our auto climate app on the bottom. And again, we have a thick blue dot. So again, confirmed upwards climate. And that's what the app is telling us here by showing us a thick blue dot. We have odds in our favor for it being an upwards climate. Now, closest stack of buy UFOs is this one here. It's 1668.3 to 1647.0. That's where we would expect there to be buy orders that could push price up. In fact, it's already done that. It came in here, price touched it and went away off to the upside, which is exactly what we expect from buy UFOs. So it's still on the chart, so still a valid UFO, still something that we think could turn price. Then we have our closest sell UFO here, the closest stack of sell orders that could push price down, and that's 1863.6 to 1879.0. And it kind of looks like we've just gone from one to the other there, and we're kind of on our way up to that sell UFO. Now, remember we said before, sometimes things fall outside of the statistics. Well, we have proof of that here with gold. So we can see that gold would normally go up for 6 candles on a daily chart. And we have been going up for 24 candles, or we're on the 24th. Now, that obviously means we are severely overextended there, 3 times, 4 times as much to the upside, which is not normal, not statistically likely. And the longer we do that, the less and less probability we have. The more you put an elastic band, the more likely it is to contract. So we're losing a lot of probabilities there. However, we do still have a confirmed upwards climate, and we don't have a sell UFO for maybe a little bit towards the upside there. It's going to be interesting to see if we keep breaking that. We've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. You know how much we're pushing that barrier there. So it'd be interesting to see if that just keeps going. Maybe it will until it hits that sell UFO and then comes down from there, but we'll see. So in terms of movement we expect on gold, we're using GVZ.X or GVZ.X. We are looking for a movement up or down in a year of 16.53%, which means a movement up or down in 1 day of 18.7 points, a movement up or down in 1 week of 41.2 points, or a movement up or down in 1 month of 85.7 points. Okay, last but not least, let's have a look at the euro. So like I said before, we're using the euro versus the US dollar spot forex market. That's the market we're using here. So euro USD. Okay, I'm just going to move the chart again. Make sure we can see everything we want to see. Again, might be a bit scrunched so that we've got everything that we need to see here. But again, hopefully you can see it okay. So once again, we have a thick blue dot on our auto climate, which is telling us that we have a confirmed upwards climate. Closest stack of buy UFOs is here, buy orders. So a buy UFO is 1.1252 to 1.1184. I've just rounded that to where it needs to be with the pips. Again, we can see here, as we've seen with the UFO below it, price hit the UFO below multiple times and it eventually pushed it up. This one has been touched multiple times and it's pushed price up. And that's exactly what we expect buy UFOs to do. Then we have sell UFOs here, closest stack of sell orders at 1.1740 to 1.1816. Again, just rounding that to where it needs to be with the pip. So again, that's the closest stack of sell orders that could push price down if we were to get up. So like we said before, we're in a confirmed upwards climate again on the euro. Once again with this one, overextended, although nowhere near as much as gold. We can see that normally the euro versus the US dollar would go up for 4 candles on a daily chart. And we are on candle number 7. So we are nearly twice as much as to what is normal or what is statistical on this market. So again, we've got to bear that in mind that we're losing probability the longer that we break those statistics, the less probability we have. We do have a confirmed upwards climate. We have just come off of a couple of buy UFOs. We've got no sell UFOs for a little while there. So it'd be interesting to see if those forces push this to continue breaking those statistics. Okay, so in terms of the movement we expect on the euro, we're looking at EVZ.X or EVZ. We can see that we'd expect to move in a year of 6.88% up or down, which means a movement in 1 day up or down of 49 pips, a movement in 1 week up or down of 108 points, 108 pips, and a movement up or down in 1 month of 226 pips. Okay, so like we said, the volatility numbers give us an idea of how fast the market is likely to move or how far it's likely to move, either up or down. And then the climate and the propagating gives us an idea of in which direction it's likely to move for. And the nearest UFOs give us an idea of where price might turn and where those climates might change around. Okay, so just coming down here to look at sort of less direct forces in the market. So obviously bear in mind the most direct force that makes price go up or down is buy and sell orders. That's it. There's obviously thousands of reasons there could be buy and sell orders, of which news is one of them. So it is a force that affects the markets, but it's an indirect force. It has less weight, shall we say, than just the pure buy orders and sell orders. But still something we need to be aware of because it can affect the amount of buy and sell orders. So what we've done here, we've gone to www.fxstreet.com/economic-calendar. That's where we get this information from. We've filtered by US markets, which we can see here, and we filtered by high impact news. So that's why we see this. So if you trade markets outside of that, or you want to look at news that has different levels of impact, you can obviously go to that link, play about with the filters and change that around. Now, obviously, we saw yesterday there was no big news that came out that we were sort of pre-aware of that could have had an impact on the markets. We've obviously got a couple coming out today, Tuesday, July 14th. They both come out 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So we've got consumer price indexes coming out. So keep an eye on that. Again, like we said, it's not a direct force, but it could impact the markets. It could create some volatility. So obviously use that with your trade plan, however you want to use it, and just be aware of the time that it comes out. Like we said, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. When we get the information, it is normally filled in on this column. So if we have sort of data here or here, it means that we know what's come out, we know what the figure was. Okay, so a couple more reminders before we round off. So for those that aren't already part of the subscription and you're watching us on YouTube or in one of our live streams, if you want to join us for the sessions where you can access future sessions, options, sharpening, stocks, investing, psychology courses or psychology sessions, and support as well, then you can join us at www.tradictive.com/youcantrade. We have a free 14-day access. So you get a couple of weeks to try us out for free, see if it makes sense first before doing anything further. And then in terms of the upcoming course, like I said at the start, next one is the backtesting course. You can learn more about that, www.tradictive.com/backtesting live. Like I said, that's this weekend. It'll be me taking it. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys there. And then just to say, you can register for any course and get an additional course for free. The additional course has to be equal or lesser value to the first one. So go on the website and maybe just play about with it in such a way that you can make the best use of that offer. If you have any questions on anything, as always, it's support@tradictive.com. We'll see you on the stocks and investing sessions today that we have in the channel. Otherwise, my colleague Boyan will be coming back. Oh no, it'll be Wayne today, coming back at 4:15 p.m. To have a look at what did happen in the markets, what went as expected, what didn't go as expected. And then I'll be back again tomorrow morning. So I'll see you guys then. Like I said, if you need us, support@tradictive.com. Otherwise, happy trading, happy Tuesday, and I'll